Hi, everybody, and welcome back. My name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. So, today's tip is to learn a useful skill. Um, I have a lot of really random splinter skills. I was a certified teacher, licensed teacher. I can't remember, certified license, whatever. I had my teaching certificate. Um, until a couple of years ago when my doctor said retire or die. So I had a choice between retiring and hoping I didn't die or gradually fading into nothingness. So I retired. And I realized I have very few hireable skills in a in this current economic environment. I have years of teaching experience, years of bartending experience, years of waitressing experience, years of sales experience. I've had all sorts of crazy jobs. When I was younger, I actually sold speakers out of the back of a van. And no, they weren't stolen. It was just like this whole acting, sales, weird thing. But it paid the bills. So I have all these things, but in our current economic environment, nobody's hiring waitresses, nobody's hiring bartenders because nobody's going out to eat. Or if they are, they're all getting takeout. Like nobody's actually sitting down at restaurants anymore. It's all about the DoorDash. Um, and honestly, if you're gonna do it, you might as well go out to eat and spend the stinking money tipping instead of on DoorDash delivery fees. Um, but I have all these like little things that I'm good at. I am good with kids, and so I'm a nanny at current time, part time. But if something happens to my employer's position and they aren't making money or aren't making as much money, then my job gets eliminated. So that's pretty precarious. Can't go back to teaching because I don't want to die. So that's not an option. I can't get a job as a bartender or waitress because nobody's hiring. Though everybody's taking applications. They're telling me, oh yeah, we might be hiring in this summer. Like, okay. And I mean, they're not being rude about it. It's just that's great. Um, so a lot of the positions available are ghost positions. They're not really available. I can do some woodworking, but I'm not really like I can't build anything major. I mean, not enough of a useful skill to make it profitable. I mean, I can do like an art level, but I can't build a house. I mean, I probably could, but I can't build a house good enough to be a professional builder. I I have all of these little skills. I actually last summer signed up to uh, be for classes to be a yoga instructor, and I don't think that's going to be really something that going forward is going to benefit me as a person. But I don't see it as I see it as another one of those careers that's going to quickly be seen as not valuable, because the thing is that right now people are quickly running out of money, and as they run out of money they eliminate different things in their life that are not needs. They don't go out to eat as much, and rightfully so. They aren't going to have a nanny. They, you know, they don't buy artwork. They're not decorating their homes. They're not needing a fancy planter or a fancy um, firewood holder or anything like that. So I still have a job right now, but what happens if my employer loses her job? So I am finding that at current time, and I mean, I have skills. I could tutor, but parents really, they're in my area. Sadly, a lot of them just don't even hire tutors. I see parents all the time talk about how their kids struggling in school, and when I suggest a tutor, they're like, "Yeah, that's too much." And whether it's that they can't afford it or they just won't spend it, because this has been going on since like 2019, so pre-pandemic. I don't know, but a lot of them are not hiring tutors. Or my favorite is, can you tutor my kid for free? No, I don't really know you. I met you in passing. Um, However, there are some people who have really usable skills and will still manage to maintain employment in some way, shape, or form. If you're somebody like a plumber or an electrician or a mechanic, you are going to be very needed no matter what. No matter what, people are going to have plumbing challenges and need to hire a plumber. People are going to need to hire an electrician when something goes wrong. People are going, I mean, I feel like a plumber is probably like the most necessary one, because not necessarily it's not necessarily something that you can do yourself. And whereas I feel like a lot of electricians are hired for add-ons or upgrades or redos, versus, a plumber, yeah, you could hire a plumber to redo your bathroom, but you can also hire a plumber because there's something wrong with your septic field or your pipe bursts or whatever. I feel like the electrical challenge isn't quite the same, because if your plumbing goes and your house floods, that's a huge mess to clean up. If your electric goes and your house burns, well, you're not hiring an electrician to just do the repair. You're, kind of stuck. So I feel like that's a really good one. Some sort of like maintenance skills, mechanics, because people are going to still need their vehicles. At least in America, we are a very car dependent society. We don't have the infrastructure really to have a lot of public transport, and we are a really, really large country, like as in square miles and geography, and we have a lot of rural areas. So the way our country's designed, it would be challenging. I would love like high speed trains and everything. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it would take a lot of work to do. And people in smaller towns and rural areas are for sure gonna need cars for at least 20 years, best case scenario. So yeah, there's some skills that absolutely are going to be more necessary and more needed, and those jobs are going to make it through. A lot of people are like, oh, well, people are still going to buy alcohol. Yeah, if they're alcoholics. And I feel like So alcohol, makeup, and cigarettes are the three big ones that always seem to make it through depressions and stuff. But I feel like a lot of younger people are not incredibly reliant on alcohol. I Now I'm Gen X, and I definitely had a lot of the Gen X experience. Smoking in middle school, drinking in middle school, drinking in high school. Um, Incredibly irresponsible behavior. Definitely lived it up in my 20s, and then just like, I don't know if I became allergic to alcohol or what, but like I go straight from sober to hungover. Not like hungover the next day, like hungover after within an hour of starting drinking. It's miserable, so I just quit. But I've noticed that I have a Gen Z kid, and I've noticed a lot of them not big drinkers. And I mean, good for them. I think that's great that they have made that choice, but I think that's definitely going to affect that industry, because if they are not as reliant upon it, and not as, I have to drink away my depression. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they just get better mental health care and actually have meds, and we all just, drown in a bottle. But um, I feel like a lot of industries that historically, I mean, have been okay are only going to be okay because of addiction. Um, Look at how many people quit smoking in America. Um, so many, because cigarettes got too expensive. I mean, for crying out loud. I was at a customer service counter to get a rain check the other day, and cigarettes were like $9, $10, $11. And I was like, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I mean, now if you smoke, you must be rich. I have a friend who both smokes and has 36 eggs in her fridge that she got through like DoorDash, Uber Eats, shipped Instacart situation. She didn't go and buy the $3 eggs like I did. Um, so there I'm like, dude, you're balling. How rich are you when you can both smoke and buy eggs and use a delivery service? Um, it's funny the things that we think of as rich now. Uh, Smoking. Before it was cool. Now it's, only for the rich. Anyways, this is like really, my words are not wording today. It's been a really rough day. It was one of those days where earlier I thought I was just going to like burst into tears in public and have to complain about my allergies. Just like, my brain is not fully functional today. So, uh, but if I'm going to do 365 tips, you're going to see some really bad days. So, today's tip is to learn a usable skill. I can sew a little bit, but not enough to make a living. I can do some woodworking, but not enough to make a living. I know enough to fix my own stuff and build furniture and stuff like that, but I'm not I'm not at the professional level with any of those skills. And so, well, I'm going to absolutely finish the yoga class in the absolute hopes that we have a economic upturn, and everything, everything bad goes away. And, live in, what is it, like milk and honey or whatever. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm still planting my garden. I'm still shopping frugally. I'm still doing all of that. But yeah, so today's tip, because, and this is totally, maybe that's why I was ready to burst into tears, is that I realized that the skills that made me employable before are either going to be obsolete, unnecessary, or due to health complications, severe health complications. I can't do them anymore. What does that say about teaching? That like the stress is so bad that my doctor said I had to quit. Anyways, again, sorry, this was kind of a weird one. My name's Melissa, and this year I'm sharing 365 tips for frugal living. If you want to hear more, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow.